Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the episode. My name is Justin. This is Next Album Please, and today we have Myth of Creation. I just want to start off by saying we had a little bit of technical difficulties. We've already introduced ourselves and everything, and what I was getting into was apologizing for the first review that I had of the band for their album. I said I didn't care for it, and I already, expressed, my apologies and everything about kind of rushing that album and basically totally missing out on what is almost a perfect album. I must say that. I will say that it's
Oh, thank you.
almost a perfect album. And yeah, definitely. And you guys were saying, you take criticism, you take it all. You take good and bad. So that's good. And I think that's why I took another chance on the album and listen to it again. And I what I do for a living is I drive bus for kids with special needs, and
Oh,
I
excellent.
love doing it and everything like that. But with 2020, no kids at school, so
Right.
basically I just drive around all day delivering packets to kids throughout the city. So it really gave me a chance to listen to your album on repeat and definitely take in every note, every synth, every vocal point, every drum, every bass line, every guitar point. I let it sink in, and I think that's when I finally said, "Okay, you made a really dumb and big mistake." So again, I know we talked about this, but before the technical difficulty, I apologize. So if you guys are following my Instagram and stuff, definitely look at the new post on the reasons why I thought the album was way better than what I initially thought. And yeah, and you were speaking right before we got interrupted, so go ahead. I think you were saying
Mhm.
something about
Me? Mm.
the band that you did the same thing to, right?
Yeah, I did that to the Defiled
Mhm.
quite a few years back, and Justice was ranting and raving about him. Everybody in the band loved him, and I'm like, everybody likes him. I don't want to hear this, and I immediately judged them, and then I sat down and listened to the full album, and I mean, 5 minutes now is one of my favorite songs, and
Yeah,
it hits different because I went through other personal experiences, and because of that, now they're one of my favorite bands to this day. I wish they were still a band,
yeah,
but they're one of my favorites. And I mean, we've even had the pleasure of talking and hanging out with Stitch quite a few times.
nice.
Um, and even meeting him, it's like, man, I just want to tell him I'm sorry because I mean, he doesn't know, and I never really told anybody, but it's like I was just too soon. Like I judged the book by its cover, and now even the cover's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and that's basically almost the exact same way. Is I just I don't know. I maybe I was having an off day or something because typically I listen to an album and I let it soak. Like I listen to that album all day. I try to at least, and uh, to go back and read what I wrote, I don't even think it was really like really well thought out written words either. So for me, I yeah, definitely, I don't know why. I just definitely retract my words. But what we're here for is you guys definitely, like I told you guys before the podcast started, I'm here for bands and artists. It's the whole reason why I started this. I've been in music since I was 10. I'm 31 now, so I've been in the scene for a very, very long time. Um, I've been on tours, I've been on all these things, so I feel like bands like yourself, artists like some of the guys that I've had on, that need more recognition. There's nothing really out there unless you have the money to pay for it. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that it sucks.
it does. Yeah.
It's as a musician, it sucks. It is the worst thing. And then when you're done recording, you're done buying your equipment for one, because I don't care what anybody says, it, a crappy amp is going to definitely show. A bad guitar is definitely going to show. It's just simple as that. But after all the money spent, now you got to spend money on promotional stuff.
Mhm.
So where is that? What is that? Where can we meet in the middle type thing? And I feel that my playing days are basically kind of done. I don't have the urge to go out and play anymore. But how can I help the music community out? And the best way is to get guys like you on to explain like who you are as a band. So I guess what I'm saying is my first question to you guys is what first got you together like as a group?
So, well, let me kind of reiterate what you said. I mean, giving back to other musicians who are, I mean, whether you're on a lower level, quote unquote,
Hmm.
or you're way more well known. I mean, that's kind of what this industry should be built upon, should be all about, is giving back, giving to those who helped you get to where you're at, and doing the same for somebody who's, for lack of a better term, underneath the position you're in.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's kind of, it's one of the big reasons why we do what we do. Is music has given to us so much. There's no way that we can ever repay that. But if we can do something so small as write a song that touches somebody in a certain way, turns their mood around, helps them with a bad day, helps them get through, a tough time, that's what we're doing it for. I mean, the tours are cool, the shows are cool, the merchandise is cool, the experiences are cool, the people you meet are cool. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's who can we help, because music has helped us so much. It's just paying it forward, giving it back. At the end of the day, once everything's all said and done, that's what it's about.
I mean, even if it's
Wow.
something as small as like even helping other bands. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
there's another local band. Well, they're in Springs.
Yeah.
All Secrets Known. They had a first show, a couple other shows, and they I have an X32 rack. So I have like the in ears and all that
Hmm.
stuff set up, and then the singer, I think he was having issues with his microphone or something like that. Something was going on. So I'm like, hey guys, use it. Like by all means, if you want to run tracks, it helps. People say it's cheating. I think it's
No,
brilliant.
tracks are
It helps.
amazing.
So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't expect somebody to be able to sing, and do all these things for 60 days straight.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I mean, you'll be hoarse by day 7, or you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I went and we're like, let's help you guys. I still don't know what I'm doing. I bought an expensive tool I don't know how to use. But so I'm like, hey, let's help you guys. I mean, we don't know what we're doing, but if it's a little bit more insight, a little bit more knowledge,
Knowledge.
let's give it back. Like,
Yeah,
there's no reason we shouldn't.
Right.
yeah, and and actually, I was going to talk about this a little bit farther down. You got, but this is a great time to bring it up. The one thing that besides the fact that when I wrote that initial review, you guys were so humble. Like I want to like press on that a little bit. You guys were so humble about it. You were like definitely took it like as a grain of salt, and came back at me with this utmost most professionalism I've had to like since I started doing this. I've had already from doing reviews, I've had to take stuff down because the people threatened, to take me to court for, yeah, it's been crazy. I didn't know you could do that. So I've been kind of changing things around. There's a rapper who I can't remember which one it was. It was a lady. She tore me down completely. Told me, I was a nobody, basically. And I am a nobody. I'm barely
We're all
starting out.
nobodies. We're all
Exactly.
nobodies. Everyone has to start
You
somewhere.
have to start somewhere. So
Exactly.
for you guys being so humble, but what really got me was this quote that I got from your guys' bio, uh, about knowing where you came from and having that, like, how do you guys keep that mindset? Like, that's incredible. Like, especially because you guys have been, I mean, you guys have been in Revolver magazine, for Christ's sake. Like, your guys' name is starting to sprout, so you guys are, I applaud you. It's going really well. But how do you keep that mindset?
So for me, I don't want to say it's an anger problem.
Hmm.
It's under control. But especially right before we're about to play a show, I'm really, really hard to talk to.
Hmm.
And I think we've played enough shows with enough quote unquote bigger people where they forget where they've come from.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name anybody because I'm not, going to stoop to that. It's
Yeah.
just when we're the nobodies and we're opening a show, but you're the somebodies, you forget that you were once no one.
Yeah.
And you forget that you opened for somebody. You forget that you never had a crew help you. You forget that you didn't have a $5,000 guitar, you maybe have only had like a first act, which there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
But I think playing the shows for me personally, and coming in contact with these people, and then even having somebody as like that I held high and mighty. I mean, in high school, I loved this musician, I loved this artist, and then we met them. We stood after
Yeah.
6 hours after a show just to hey man, can we get a photo? And it was, and I quote, "Hold on, girl, let me deal with these kids, and I'll come back to you."
Oh,
Like we
wow.
were your number one fan. We've bought all of your albums. We've bought your shirts. We've bought your merchandise. We've donated money just so you could keep doing what you're doing, and you just shit all over us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, are we allowed to cuss on this?
You are absolutely allowed to.
But they just like they shit all over it, and it's like I would never ever, even if I'm having the worst day after a show, I would never ever shit on a fan, because
Yeah.
that's the whole reason we're able to do this.
Right.
Even if it's another musician or the owner of a bar, even if stuff doesn't work, it's just like, hey man, come on, you were once no one.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was another band we played with, and the moment we stepped on stage, their tour manager saw all of our equipment and was like, "Nope, get it off." Like, but this is a part of our show, and
Yeah.
it became a huge deal. And I was like, "All right, take this stuff off. We're not playing. We're
Yeah.
nobodies." They forgot that they were nobodies. So okay, we
Yeah.
can play that part too. And I think that just kind of reminds me. And I mean, we come from a small town. We come from Pueblo, Colorado, and I mean, the number one thing there is music. It's a family, man. It's everybody is kind of in the same. It's the same members in different bands,
Mhm.
so everybody just it's just a really family oriented place. And like it was a tiny like hole in the wall bar called Phil's Radiator, and anybody who's from Pueblo knows like it's Phil's like. And I think seeing that, growing up with that, and like having people give us a place, and then knowing, hey, we come from Pueblo, and then you see some people leave and they want nothing to do with the town. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, it's home.
Yeah. And
Like,
and
the
it
bands there are
definitely
home. Like,
it's definitely your stepping stone, so you don't want to throw that away, you know.
Mhm.
And you're absolutely right. There's been many times, you know, I've gone to shows, as my experience is, uh, every year I spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to Aftershock in California. I do the VIPs. I spend almost, you know, the grand more or more to go see these guys and get up and personal and close and, you know, talk to them and stuff. And there's been many times where I don't even get that. And it's like, whoa, I just basically paid, you know, like a lot of money here, you know, and it does suck. But I'm so thankful to actually have found a band that is so humble like you guys yourself. So that's awesome that you guys have kept this mindset, especially this far too, because I would like to say in the you're a lot farther along than most bands, you know, and I feel that you guys keeping that mindset and that humbleness about you is definitely going to take you even farther, because you're going to be the band that all the fans are like, oh my god, we have to go after the show and meet them, we have to go. And you'll be there, you won't shit on your fans. So that's awesome. um so inspiration wise, you said that, you know, all your town is full of musicians that join other bands, so you got, you know, mix match everywhere. What do you, is that, do you think your town kind of inspired you to start playing music? I mean, if it's a town of like a music community, you know, that's what I would think. But what like really inspired you guys, you know, to create this?
Robert, you go.
All right. Well, I was really inspired by people like Trent Reznor, who he takes, you know, he wants to put this music out there, and instead of, you know, going through the struggle of finding all these people, going through the loops of it, he just does it himself. You know,
Yeah.
sits there in a room and is like, I'm gonna record this, I'm gonna write this, and then to actually turn that into a physical product was something that like I found, you know, really amazing. Being able to do, you know, something like that with just one or two other people like Justice and Tim, you know, to be able to sit and create this huge thing that's bigger than what we are, was honestly, that's what inspired me, was seeing other musicians who take the initiative. If they want to be a rock star, you know, they're not going to let anyone get in their way. They're going to go and they're going to make it a reality. And I think that, that's what was really inspiring. And then meeting Justice and Tim just really helped to fuel that. I think we all have like the same perspective of, we all want this so bad, and we're the only ones that can work for it. No one's going to come around and hand us a ticket to the top.
Yep.
So for me, that was the biggest thing. It was like, if you really want this, you have to sit down and actually do it, put in the hours to do that. And I feel like I just had good role models to look up to for that.
Yeah, and being a self-made musician is probably the only way to go nowadays anyways, unless you know somebody basically. And the underground music scene itself is so self-made. And I will say this, even though 2020 has been such a shitty year, I have not seen in all the times that I've been alive, the amount of talent that has been coming out, like crazy talent. So for you guys to do something self-made, it's absolutely wonderful. That's a great inspiration. And for people that are watching or listening, take what he just said and use it for yourself too, because you gotta be in it for yourself. If you're not in it for yourself, you're not going to be happy. You're going to produce shitty music. Bottom line, you have to be happy at what you do and have that type of inspiration. So, dang, that I couldn't have said it better. That was great. That was great.
I think a really huge inspiration too to us, and it goes back to being humble, is our family and our friends who have actually helped give us the means to do this, because we don't make a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money. So every little bit of dollar that comes in from the people who actually care about us and want to support us, it gives us that much bigger of shoes to fill. It really gives us like a sense of purpose, like, oh, I actually want to do something with this. Like, I owe it back to the people who helped pay this part.
Yeah, you have that drive.
Yeah, it gives us a sense of motivation too. I mean, we have, whether it be a small amount of people, but we have people who do believe in us so strongly and so passionately. We can't just, all right, well, this year sucked, I guess let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
We personally have put so much, the cliche blood, sweat, and tears into this. And I mean, literal blood, sweat, and tears have gone into creating, to where we're at now. But I mean, just the people who have supported us from day one, from, older bands morphing into this band, people who have stuck along that whole path. I've had some people showing up to shows since I was 14, 15 years old, now 10, 12, 13, I don't math good, but however many years later, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm still seeing the same faces in the crowd. And, whether we're playing a sold out show one night or we're playing to 10 people, I still see some of the same faces, so like I was saying, it gives us that sense of motivation to not only, we can't let ourselves down, but we can't let those who have helped us along the way down either.
Exactly.
So it kind of gives us a stern kick in the ass to, really keep pushing forward, even though, I mean, there's, especially this year too, I mean, there's times where it's like, do we just hang it up? Ooh. Like we've come, I don't want to say we've come close, but I mean, I'm sure it's definitely crossed all three of our minds.
Of course.
I don't know if you're in a proper band if you don't think that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
honestly, it sucks, but I mean, to me, when I hit that low, that's when some of the best music comes out.
Yeah.
And I mean, you do sometimes have to question it and like hit that kind of want to give up spot to then realize how much it actually means to you again.
Yeah, and honestly, it goes even further than music. For just a little example is, how many times I've said, should I just cancel all my podcasts? Should I just literally cancel all schedule? Because one thing before I continue on that is, you guys are big on suicide awareness and stuff like that. I've noticed, and 5-6 years ago, I want to say now, I was in that same spot. So for you guys to do that, I just want to say thank you on that. Like, to be such a proponent of it, and just like or what's the word for it? Oh my goodness. Just being self-aware. Just be self-aware that, I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but everybody's important. You're important. Always remember that. I've looked down the barrel of a gun and it will change you. So for you to say, you know, the days where you're down and that's like you write the best music, I couldn't agree more. Some days when I'm super down and I want to cancel the podcast, you know, I have my fiance backing me up on and saying, no, you write the questions out, you get this ready, and you get your ass out there. And I do it, and then I love it. I end up loving it, you know. So hanging up because of bad days is definitely on every band, most bands, not every band, but most bands, and every, you know, career, basically. A lot of people want to give up. And 2020's made it, you know, so much worse. And it's the people, I applaud everybody that hasn't hung up. Don't hang up. I highly suggest you don't hang up because you have more to offer. So you guys, besides the, you know, the mention on in Revolver, which I have been looking for that damn magazine since I saw that. Because I like to collect, you know, the Revolver magazine, stuff like that. But when it's a band that I get to interview, it's like, oh my God, I want that. Like, I want to be able to, hey, I interviewed this band, you know? So I've been looking for that damn magazine. I even looked online to see if maybe it's, because it's a further back issue, correct? How far back do you think?
September of 19, I think.
19, okay. I'm going to keep looking for it. I'm going to find it. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to find it. But you guys have been, with all this success, you guys have had some trials along the way as well.
Yeah.
Have we?
Yeah. And you're a prime example of a band that's been through hell, you know, has walked through mud and shit and everything and come up to what you guys are now. And, you know, every band's, you're going to continue to do that, obviously, you know, that's life, apparently. You know, so I like with your trials and everything, I get your hardest trials and everything behind you. Going forward, what do you guys see yourself doing? Do you guys see yourself possibly even, you know, creating another album, you know, all that stuff?
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think ever stopping is gonna, it's not in our cards. So we're definitely, I mean, Robert, myself, and Justice have been already talking back and forth about album 2. We've been writing some music here and there. It's been tough with 2020.
Yeah.
But I'm also 100% expecting us to still go through hell. I don't.
It's far from over. Yeah.
I don't think it's ever gonna stop. No, honestly, yeah. And I think that's what kind of fuels me more. I don't want to give the people who don't like us fuel, but they're a part of the reason I keep doing this, because they're giving me someone to prove wrong.
Right.
And maybe even prove right in some cases. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we have talked a lot about it for this year, for next year, and granted, I don't think anybody foresaw 2020 going this way.
Yeah.
But you know, it's actually kind of been nice. It's given us a chance to regroup, see where we went wrong, where we went right. Really plan a little bit better. I mean, you can never really plan for the future, but that way we know, okay, we're getting life situated a little bit better outside of the music. We're, you know, a house, bills paid off, and just kind of rallying before. But Robert and I and Justice, we've been talking a lot about it. There has been some music back and forth. We're just hoping, like right now, currently we're in an apartment and we're looking at houses right now. So once that hits, I mean,
same boat.
It's so hard to practice.
See, it's same boat. It sucks.
It does.
But once we get that, though, I mean, that's where we're going to really be able to set up our foundation of all the equipment we have and be able to really have a spot to write and put music down, rather than sending it in Dropbox back and forth and trying to record it and then not making my neighbors angry and finding the right time. And it's tough, but I think we're adapting well to it.
Good. I don't mean to rush another album. I mean, you guys just came out with the first album, and Trials definitely hit. I want to totally ignore the first listen. I'm only going to focus on the second listen and so on, because now you guys are part of one of my playlists, you know. And it's Trials was so tight, you know. It was absolutely just crisp as hell. that was one thing I did say, I think, in the original review too, was how crisp the sound was. I mean, wow. So for you guys to do something like that, like the second album is going to be even, that much better. So I'm glad that you guys are, considering the second album, even though it was really close to the first album. So I didn't expect you guys to be like, oh yeah, we're almost done with the second album. I didn't expect that. There's no way you guys had just finished this, piece. So what, going into that, we've talked about, trials, tribulations. We've talked about success and everything like that. What I want to get into basically is your creative process. You guys as a band as a whole, and before we get into the creative process, it's only you three now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I noticed, because I watched the full thing too. It was a 2016 concert that you guys had on YouTube. It was sold out, wonderful crowd, sound was amazing, everything looked good. Your screams are on par. I cannot, from 16 to now, like, holy shit, you haven't changed. And I'm a vocal, I do vocals myself, and I know that there's nights where I just fucking crack and everything. So how is it now for the creating process? Is it easier now that it's only you three, or is it a little more difficult?
I personally find it a lot easier. I mean, we won't go into too much detail about it, but I mean, we kind of were the core three to begin with. Mm-hmm. We kind of had some revolving doors in those other positions from day one. And from day one, the three of us have been there. And I think just the three of us have connected more than just a musical sense. The three of us are, I mean, practically brothers. Him and I have known each other for what, 10, 12 years.
Going on 12.
Robert, I've known Robert since you were what, 14, 13? How old were you? I don't know. We've known each other for a very long time. And even before any of us were in a band together, we were still going to watch bands. We were still listening to music. We were still, just friends.
Yeah.
So once we really got this project, Myth of Creation, going, the three of us just kind of already fell into that natural groove. And then, we had revolving bass players. We had, a singer before Tim. Tim was playing keyboards, and then he moved up to vocals. We had a new keyboard player, didn't have a keyboard player, had a keyboard player, didn't have a keyboard player, had a keyboard player, had a bass player, was gone, never showed back up. So the three of us have kind of just assumed that position in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of always naturally been that way. So I think just over the course of time, it's just gotten stronger and stronger. That bond is just, those roots are just sinking in, even tighter.
I mean, it's not to say that the others didn't. The other people who were here with us. Yeah. It's just more so the three of us have gone through the trials we did. We have gone through life shitting on us, and me not wanting to keep going, and then finding more than family, finding brothers in this band and family, and we've all kind of suffered together, and when the band took certain blows, it hit all of us equally.
Yeah.
When Robert was in college, it hit all of us equally. When I was in college and working 2 jobs and moving up to Denver from Pueblo, and just life, it hit us all. Like when I'm going through depression, Justice and Robert were right there going through it with me. When Robert was going through a breakup, Justice and I were going through it with him. We've all suffered together, and I hate to say it, but it almost it brings you closer. Like it almost takes that to be that much closer to another person. And we've also found too, I mean, it's not to say that it was hard writing with other people. It's just easier.
Yeah.
we know how we all work. Like, and I don't know a damn thing about music. I don't. Robert's taught me everything. Justice has taught me everything. Hey, we couldn't find a singer. I'll try it. Fuck it. And like, I don't know proper terminology for certain music things, and I'll say it, and Robert gets it right away, and Justice gets it right away, and we've in the past it was hard with other people to say, hey, try writing your part this way maybe, but with us, I could write a drum piece for Justice, not knowing how, and it's okay. And Justice can write vocals for me, and Robert can write all the piano stuff. And it's like, no, let's try that. Like, yes, like we don't take offense by you offering another opinion.
Right.
And I think that's just kind of growing. I mean, we didn't really take offense before with other people. It's just, I think we've kind of over time grown accustomed to allowing other ideas and finding out they actually work better.
Yeah, and it also with having that bond and going through all that stuff, you know, you guys, like you said, you're almost like brothers, basically brothers. It when you guys are writing something, it's easier to just feel that, you know, like with your piece.
Yeah.
You know, if Justice is writing this killer ass drum kit like piece, you know, Robert can be able to just boom pop in with something and just you know, it may not be the final product, but at least you know to just jump in because you know exactly what Justice is going to do next. Right. That takes years for some bands to get to. Some bands don't even get that, you know, so
it's taken us years too.
Well, I mean,
we're still not there.
Oh yeah, we're still learning.
You're still going to continue to grow. You know, exactly. You guys started in 2012, correct? Around then?
I think this project, started 2012.
2012.
I didn't even know that.
See, with it being, you know, that long, it's still fresh. You're still a baby. Absolutely. You know, you're still a baby in this. Maybe a toddler now. You know, you're at that point in your music careers where there's still a lot to go. You know, you still have a lot to learn and everything like that. But it's pretty impressive that in that short amount of time, you guys can have that bond. So that's great. So creative wise with a 3-piece and because of the bond, it's just easier. And not to, like you said, not taking anything from the other musicians, because what I saw on that video, those musicians did absolutely wonderful. No flaws, nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
They're killer. Like Bundy, he was one of our bass players, and he's one of the best bass players I know.
Yeah.
Daniel, he was playing keys for us, and he's still a damn good drummer. Like they're great musicians. Mm-hmm. You know, just life kind of has a way of getting in the way. Yeah, exactly.
It's basically all you have to chop it up to. Shit happens, life happens.
Yeah, exactly. And
we're still friends with them. We still talk to them. They're still brothers to us. And anybody who's been in this project with us, I mean, they're always going to have a place. They were a part of the growing process. You know, without them, we wouldn't be where we're at today.
Exactly.
You know, so we can't discredit anybody who has had anything to do with our growth. I mean,
they just helped you along, basically.
Exactly. It's just everything is a stepping stone.
Exactly, and that's where we go back to the home thing is,
right.
You know, you don't throw that away. So that's awesome. It's awesome that you guys are super humble. Now, the band as a whole, I am not taking away anything from you, Justice. You're an incredible drummer. Absolutely tight. Absolutely great. Your vocals, Tim, are fucking crazy. Rob, I want to talk about the tone that you brought to this album.
The tone?
The tone that you brought to this album. That, I think that was what, when I took that second listen and third listen and fourth listen, you know, and continuously had it on repeat, your tone, how the fuck did you get that? Because honestly, you sound like true 90s and 2000 metal, like those early days, the good metal, like just formed into one, and then just threw in some modern metal with it. And it's like your guitar playing obviously is, you know, all three of you guys amazing musicians, but that's what I think stood out to me mostly on the album. I guess the highest point was that tone. Like where did you get that?
So
Robert, I'm gonna cut you off real quick. I'm gonna say Robert is the absolute music genius of this band. Without this band, without Robert in this band, we wouldn't have the songs that we do. We wouldn't have. I'm gonna put you over, dude. Like this is without Robert, like this band would not be anywhere damn near close to where we are.
We're not
Without
kidding.
you,
Like, Robert
Justice.
definitely deserves more credit.
Yeah, Robert deserves all the credit for everything.
No,
So-
no.
so
Without
continue,
you, Justice,
continue.
we wouldn't have drums. Without Tim, we wouldn't have vocals.
Exactly.
And, I mean,
Exactly.
that goes back to like it was everybody. You know, we all fill niches that the others can't.
Yeah, but you carry the weight. I have no problem admitting that. Robert carries the damn weight. Okay, continue.
But no, tone wise, so I usually use I like Les Pauls, I like Gibson guitars, humbucking pickups. I usually run through a Marshall with a pedal board, but actually everything on the album was recorded digitally, just through a plug-in. I think it's
Wow.
a Joey Sturgis Tones or something. Just boost the mids, drop the distortion a little bit, throw on a noise gate, and then like a tube screamer beforehand. Just really gives it like that punch, but that like that gritty like clarity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's not just like buzzsaw distortion, but it has that like equal amounts punch and distortion.
What
It's
I
kinda
call
interesting.
what I call really well produced metal. That's what it is. Your guys' genre needs that. Like, I'm not trying to place you anywhere either, but I hate placing people in genres, but hey, that's the music scene, sorry. You know, but where you guys are placed, you guys need that. So that was one hell of a choice. I that was great. So guitar wise, you know, like I said, phenomenal. Drumming, I don't think I've ever heard anything so tight. So your timing, you know, it's fucking one of the best. I will say that. Like you, and I'm not trying to chop you guys up. I'm not trying to be like, oh hell yeah, they're on my podcast, so I got to chop them up. No,
Keep going.
like I
Keep
said
it going.
before, you know, I originally, for some reason, don't know why, I didn't like it. But then, you know, I took really delved into it, and yeah. And now, like I said, tight drumming, super crisp, clean sound. Who recorded you guys, by the way?
So we recorded at Sunshine Studios.
Mm-hmm.
It is a studio and venue. So that show that you watched back in 16 or whatever it was, that sold out show, that was at that venue. So that venue has a big side, which is the music venue.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of behind closed doors, behind like the bar, it's in a giant warehouse. So they kind of have it sectioned off really well. But they have the recording studio. So we cut the record there. I mean, we really had a great team, you know, behind us. You know, it wasn't just the three of us.
Yeah.
Who went in and turned some dials and you know, what came out came out. Our producer was Scott Wilson. He plays bass. He used to be in Saving Abel. No, he used to be in Tantric. He's now in Saving Abel.
Holy shit! All right.
Yeah. And then
Tantric was amazing back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. And then our engineer, Richard Easterling. Oh my God, Richard is the second genius behind the album.
He's a wizard.
Wizard.
Yeah. No, he really is. He's had his hands in a lot of really cool projects. So the fact that we had him at our disposal, I mean, we made really good friends with him. You know, we did some stuff in his apartment. Like, you know, he's a great guy. He's a phenomenal engineer. I mean, without him and Scott and the team at Sunshine Studios, the record wouldn't be nearly what it is.
The best part about working with them too is we had so many stupid questions, and they were more than willing to say, hey, this is how. Like, we would ask Richard, like, how do you do this? What's the reason behind this? What's this? What does that dial do? And he, without like a flinch, was like, oh, I'll show you. Like, Justice, do you want to learn how to kind of edit drums? Yeah, I would love to do this one day. Cool. Jump in right here. Take a look at that. Like, it was very hands-on and a really, really awesome learning curve working with them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you guys were able to get that type of experience because it's rare.
It
You
is.
usually get uptight assholes that kind of, you know, when you get in you don't know you don't know what this is. You've never seen 16 channels isn't a lot, but a 16 channel mixer. Oh my God. You know, you get that. So I'm glad that you guys got that experience because not everybody can say that they had a great recording experience. So
we are very thankful for that. And I mean, this was the first real studio that we went into. I mean, sure, we've made demos in people's basements and people's garages. You know, we've recorded tons of stuff that way, but this was, I mean, we were super green going into an actual recording studio, having a producer, having an engineer, having a team behind it. I mean, yeah, just the fact that we were you good?
Sorry, I got a leg cramp.
No, you're good.
But I mean, just
I
the
thought you
fact
had like a
that-
dog and you came out, you were scratching
Yeah,
a
I got a leg
dog.
cramp. I need more water.
So, with that, the best thing about this, I guess, career that I'm going down with podcasting and stuff like that is I get to do the research and kind of delve in to the bands, you know, before I get you on here. You guys have recorded that album for almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
it was a long process.
Yeah.
Not all by choice.
Okay.
There was a lot of factors that went into that.
a lot.
I think I said in an interview one time, the album that we went into the studio with wasn't the album that we came out with on the other end. So, I mean, the album wasn't even called Trials going into it. We dealt with a lot of those trials, a lot of those hardships while we were recording that. So, I mean, on the beforehand side, we were going in with just like, yeah, dude, these are some cool rock and roll songs. Let's go spend some money and cut a real record. Okay, cool. In the studio, I mean, it was just hardship after hardship
Yeah.
after this and that.
Family members.
Family members dying,
It's-
people leaving. We dealt with a lot in that studio. And I would like to think we left a lot of that on the record, you know.
There was a lot that got changed because
Yes,
of that.
yes.
Lyrically, musically, you know, we were able and lucky enough to change it during, and
Mhm.
and that's where a lot of trials came from.
Yeah.
I honestly, I can, now that you're talking about it, I'm looking at your guys' album right here. You can definitely hear it, especially in the song "Hate Myself." You can hear every emotion that you guys have collectively as a band. So, I'm gonna say this and I mean it in the best intentions. I'm happy that you guys went through that shit because you guys created this. As a fan,
I mean,
as someone that likes the music, you know, I am so sorry for whatever you guys have gone through because it's shitty, you know, and you know, everybody goes through everything, you know, life basically. But you guys created something here that honestly deserves way more plays than it's got. I mean, you're getting good amount of plays here, you know, up to the 8,000s and stuff like that on certain tracks, but that should be in the 100,000s, in my opinion. Especially "Hate Myself" is my favorite track on the whole album. I think I said something else was my favorite, but I take it back. I was listening again today, and I just can't get "Hate Myself" off my mind. So that is definitely one. So emotionally, you guys put in more than what you would have put in if you originally recorded in the beginning. So it totally changed the album, but in my opinion, it changed it in the best possible way.
See, these are the things that I hope people listen to, especially exactly what you just said, so that way they know, like, today sucked.
Mhm.
I don't want to even get up in the morning. I'm in bed. I called off of work. Like, just so you know, there's that silver lining to that suffering. Something great came out of all of this, and it's going to continue to happen. You know, you're still going to get shit on that. Like you said, that's
Oh, yeah.
life. But I hope people hear that and take it, and even listening to the music and know the shit we went through and what we were able to take out of it. That's what matters. You know, you had a shit day, but what did you learn today? What was the highlight of your day? Did
Yeah.
you smile? And if you didn't, that's fine. But take everything with a grain of salt. Try to find a silver lining in it. And you know, we lost people during the album, but we got a great thing from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the good with the bad. You know, the light with the dark. You know, everything like that.
Yeah.
It's that constant duality. You have to there has to be a balance to life. You know, that's a, you know, very esoteric thing a concept to kind of take on. But I mean, there has to be. You can't have light without dark.
Yeah.
You can't have dark without light. You can't have good without bad. You can't have up without down. And I can go on for days, you know, making those comparisons, but it's true. You know, you have to. One thing that I've kind of always held on to is the darker the days get, the darker the times get, the brighter that light will be at that end of the tunnel.
Yep.
And I've kind of always held on to that. And if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having, something's going wrong, somebody's sick, somebody died, somebody, I don't talk to anymore, it's like, okay, this is a very dark time, dark day, but I just know that that light at that end of that tunnel is going to be so much brighter because I am sitting in this darkness right now.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just always held on to that. And that's kind of, helped me get through, some tough times. And, if we can try to pass that on to people, hey, we're doing our job.
Yeah. And I don't, I have never really expressed this, I guess, in a scale of like the podcast or anything like this, but I guess I'll go into detail because you guys are like, fuck, I'm glad I had this interview. You guys are literally just humble, normal ass people. Like you're just,
yeah.
And when I say normal, I mean shit getting thrown at you, everything,
Sure. Yeah.
In 2016, for me, I lost, my best friend. He passed away from cancer. A year later, my wife of 11 years left me because of depression. After that, I attempted suicide. The gun failed. Thank God. I mean, think anything. I don't tell anybody, I'm still in that phase right now of, do I really believe in or do I not? That thing, I'm not, anyways. But, the gun failed. I ended up in a psych ward for 3 days. It's the most terrible fucking thing. That's, if you don't, I highly suggest do not go. Most terrible fucking thing in my life. And I came out with this new sense of purpose of like who I am. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I have a fiance that I absolutely admire. I give her hell. I give her shit all the time. That's just how I am. But she's amazing, and I have, I have a position where I'm at in work wise right now. It's kind of shitty, but it's great. I'm in life now. I look at it different, and I look at it with the, like you said, you have to sit through the dark to get to the light, basically.
Exactly.
And it, like, this is probably the most like somber, down, real podcast I think I've done since I started this. And I couldn't have asked a better group to come on and do this, because even with our little bit of history, it's like I went from, like I said, with the bad review to the good review to now. It's like you guys are so humble about everything, and it just, I don't know, it touches me. And as listeners and stuff like that, if you guys don't know their music, definitely go check it out, because listen to it. Don't listen to it like a regular person. Listen to it with the most intent of taking everything from that album. Listen to the words, especially the words. Listen to the tone, because that tone right there can either make you angry or make you happy. It's either going to do either the or. And angry is a good thing. Like you said, you said you suffer from, depression and anger, stuff, Tim. And, a lot of us do. And your album actually kind of helps people through it. It really does. And if that's the intent, you nailed it.
Yeah, I think I said it like I was saying in another interview, that's one of the main reasons why I do this, because music has helped me so much. And I think even Corey Taylor said it in one of his interviews, like, if the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes somebody sees us live and they're able to let that little bit of steam out, just scream at the top of their lungs and know that they're okay to go back to work tomorrow just a little bit better, that's what fucking matters.
Yep.
Let it out when we're there. If what we do can help you in even the smallest amount, I can happily stop today and say I succeeded at what I set out to do. Like, I'm not gonna stop, but that's the whole.
I was like,
reason.
please don't.
Well, and like, I actually had this conversation with the buddy quite a while ago, and she was asking me about that, and she's like, so, because we did have a fan actually reach out and say, hey, your song helped me. I just lost a friend, and we ended up sending that person the album for free. Like, dude, it's yours.
Nice.
It's not even out yet. Here, take it.
Wow.
Like, thank you. This is why we do this. And I told him, like, I did it. I succeeded. And she's like, so are you going to stop? I'm like, no. She's like, why not? You did what you set out to do. And I'm like, because there's one other person who needs to hear it.
Yep.
There's 10 other people. If I don't care if I'm playing to one person and it helps them, that's why I do it. And there's more people who need to hear it. It doesn't even need to be metal or our music. You can listen to John Mayer. You can listen to anybody out there. And as long as it helps you, music can speak 1,000 languages, and you can get the happiest song and it can make you sad. You could get the saddest song and it makes you happy. You could take classical music with no lyrics and that can help you through your day. And that's why I do this. I mean, I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're alone or like they're suffering alone. And something I went through can be easy for me now because I've gone through it, but stubbing the toe of another person could be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And as long as they know, hey, it's justified, it's okay.
Yeah.
Reach out if you need to. If you do have anger issues, reach out. There's always help. Even if it's writing me in the middle of the night, like my door is open. Like I don't know if I'm the most certified person to help.
Yeah.
But sometimes I found it's easier to talk to a stranger. And I've had a couple people write me and say like, hey, I did listen to this interview. I'm going through this. And it's like, okay, let's talk. Sleep is screw sleep. I can sleep tomorrow. Let's talk. That's what we're here for.
And you guys are absolutely wonderful human beings for doing that, because that's in the long run, that's what it is. We need to, besides, mental health and stuff like that, we still have like the race issues going on. We still have all these other issues, religious issues. Just if everybody thought, hey, you share the same blood I do, it's just like that. Like everybody needs to remember that we're all human beings.
Exactly.
And sometimes people break down. And I want to before we get going, because I am running a little over my time, but that's okay. I enjoy talking with you guys a lot. Is you said it best. Some sad songs can make you happy. I don't know if you ever heard of the band Blue October.
Yes, that's one of my favorite singers.
Okay, Justin, first.
Yep.
Something.
I can never pronounce it.
I can never pronounce it either. He came out with a solo album where he played live to people, and
that's my favorite album.
Favorite album of all time. It literally speaks to you, and you said it. You're the way you guys are. That's your intention as well. Like I only see the best for you guys. I only see fans growing. Because that's the type of interaction we like. We like to hear a band come back at you and say something. I've shot out messages to bands that have 300 fans, I guess you could say, on Instagram, and have been told, I don't have time for you. I'm okay with that. If you don't, that's fine. I'm here for you. So whatever. But it's when you guys come back to people, your fans, like the fan that wrote you, that means a lot, and it speaks volumes as you guys, not as musicians, but as human beings. And that's, I think, what everybody should strive to be, is like you. So with that being said, people that are watching, people that are listening, I just want you to take this interview and I want you to listen to it again. If you're going through it, I want you to listen to it many times, because it's not the fact that I'm trying to promote my podcast. It has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that you need to listen to, everybody has gone through shit.
Yes.
Everybody has been dragged through hell. We are out there if you need help. And I don't put it enough on my Instagram. I should, about, mental health awareness. And maybe this is my chance to start doing that more. You guys inspired me, especially with the way you guys carry yourself, to be more aware of mental health, especially because I've gone through it too, So, like Timothy said, if you need to talk, just reach out. Remember, sometimes people get busy. Sometimes people don't answer right away. I've had that.
Keep calling.
Just do it again, So, this is the time of the podcast where I kind of let the fans know exactly where to find you, where to find your music, your social media and stuff. So go ahead and shoot your plug.
Usually it's on a phone. Sometimes a laptop helps. No, I don't know our stuff.
Um, we are really horrible at social media. But if it does come through, we do see it and we do respond. But we are on Facebook, Instagram. We might have a Twitter. I don't know if I have even checked it in a couple years. I don't know.
We got a Twitter.
We have one, I think.
We got a Google. We probably even have AOL Messenger. But no, it's mythofcreation.com. We do have the website. We have the Instagram is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me personally, because I have it on my phone. I'm the primary person who posts to it, even though I've been slacking. But Instagram, Facebook, I guess Twitter, YouTube even. Or if you really need to talk to us, write us personally.
Yeah.
Like all of our stuff is open. Find him, find Robert. It's down there. Find me. Reach out. I'm Tim. That's Justice. That's Robert. What are you on social medias, Robert?
Just Robert Spangler.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and you can't. I just gonna take this little bit of time left to say you will never find another band as humble as these guys. You will never find another band. Well, I mean, if you do, it's one in a million, because not very many bands do this. Not very many bands open their arms. And you as a listener, as someone new to their music, you should take this opportunity to definitely show your love, because this band definitely deserves it. I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming on my show again. I'm going to say it again. I apologize for the damn review. Should have never. My mom taught me a long time ago, don't open your mouth unless you're for sure you want to say it. I didn't listen to myself, and I didn't listen to my mom that day, and I made her disappointed. But I just want to say, like I said, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for coming onto the podcast. Continue doing what you're doing. I can't wait to hear more. I cannot wait for the second album. I'm really excited for it. Before we go, any chance you guys are going to go vinyl?
We want to.
Yeah, we want to. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how.
If you ever figure, I don't know. I don't know how some of these bands do it, but if you ever figure it out and you ever do it, let me know, and I'll be first to buy your guys' vinyl, because
Absolutely.
can't
Get in
wait.
touch with us, man.
Yes.
We have another guy we did an interview with, and I talk to him probably once a month now, and that's been a year since we've done it.
Well, I'll definitely be checking in, because when you guys do drop your second album, I'm going to get you on the show. I got to get you back on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
So, with that being said, there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't even remember what it was. But anyways, this was Myth of Creation. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming on the show. Until next episode, guys, we will see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I can't stay.